Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with me today. My name is Sam Montgomery, and I'm from Heart Center Spiritual Alchemy. And I'm here today to talk to you about resistance because it's what we're being called, well, not to resist, we're being called at the moment to move out of resistance and to move even more fully into the essence of who we really are. And all of my videos, those of you who know me will know that all my videos are based on personal experience and downloads that I receive. And I'm so aware of this phase where we're at the moment. And it was really brought home to me this morning as I was lying in bed and it was lovely and cozy and I didn't want to get up. And I was so resisting getting out of bed. It was like years ago, I read this meme and it said, sleep would be my superpower if it wasn't for my arch enemy, my bladder. And that's what it was like for me this morning. I had to get up, I had to go to the loo, but I was really resisting getting out of bed. And it made me aware of, of what I was doing every morning and how I was starting my every day. And as I thought about this, I felt into my body and I could actually feel the resistance in my body as my body became more tense. I'd been so relaxed upon awakening, and now my body was starting to become tense when I thought about getting up. And I just thought to myself, what inappropriate, is that the right word? But what a way to start the day in this state of resistance, which is going to bring more and more resistance into my day throughout the day unless I move out of this state of awareness, this state of being. So that was the first awareness of my day of resistance. And then I was in conversation with someone. And again, I became aware of my resistance to this conversation. And I was experiencing this resistance as boredom, disinterest, impatience. I wasn't honoring the other person at all, nor myself. I really wanted to to distance myself from them. And when I sat with myself and I thought it through, it was because they were talking about things that I didn't want to talk about. They were triggering me. They were triggering my own stuff. And my way to deal with that was to resist them. But it wasn't about them, it was about me. They were gifting me things in my own life that I need to look at. So that was my second experience of resistance. My third, I'll tell you, I don't know how many times I've tried to do this video. I've resisted and resisted and resisted. I've got to 30 seconds into it, 45 seconds into it, and I've stopped it and turned it off. So that was my third resistance. But anyway, but seriously, so the point is that when we resist, truly that when we resist, we put distance between our natural state of being and who we're being at that moment. Because our natural state of being is to be in the flow. Our natural state of being is to receive with ease and with grace. When we become resistant to anything, we step out of that natural state of being, and it becomes near enough impossible for us to receive that which we really desire. Okay, because if you can imagine, I mean, just feel whatever you're resisting at the moment in your body. Even think about the word resistance and feel how your body can get tense and literally almost your auric field shrinks in to protect you from this imaginary enemy that you're resisting, or this imaginary force that you're resisting, that really you're creating because it's coming from your own triggers. So that's what resistance does. It moves us out of our own natural essence, our own natural state of being. And when we move out of our own natural state of being, we'll move further out of it because our journey is to return to it. But when we move further out of this own natural state of being, we lose touch with who we are. We lose touch with our gifts. We lose touch more and more with our joy. And we become victims, okay? We move further into victimhood. All through this resistance, which we've been taught to do we've been taught to resist things throughout our whole life in different ways. But it is doing us so much damage. It is so, so difficult for us. And in fact, when we're in resistance, we're actually holding ourselves in our own prison from receiving and from increasing our awareness and from expanding our spiritual journey. So this habit we have of resisting is actually holding us self-imprisoned within, if you like, the matrix, or whatever way you want to refer to that, but it's preventing us from being free. And what you do about it? I talk about surrender. And when I talk about surrender, I talk about love. So I talk about replacing that resistance with a love for ourselves. I talk about relaxing into it. What is it that you're resisting? Go with the flow. Just go and do it. If you can, just go and do it. If you can't do it, that's okay. Stop beating yourself up for not doing it. Move out of this state of being judgmental towards ourselves. It's the best way to move out of resistance. Move into the state of loving ourselves and allowing ourselves to be and to receive is the best way to work with resistance. Because I suppose in a greater, well, I suppose there isn't a greater, but another way to look at this is if you're trying to work with the law of attraction, there's 3 steps in the law of attraction. Well, I suppose 4 steps. There's a number of steps. You decide what you want, and in deciding, you're actually asking for that. Okay, so you're asking for what you want, and you're putting out there to the universe or source or God or whatever you want to call it. This is what I want. Please bring this to me. This is what I want. Now, the moment you do that, the very moment you do that, that's created for you. So your job then becomes not to move towards that, but to allow that to move towards you. And you do that by being open to it. You do that by moving out of resistance to it. You do that from being loving to yourself and recognizing your own worth and allowing that. Just recognizing your own worth generally. Because resistance also is a denial, as I said earlier, in different words, of your own worth. So this resistance that we're holding at the moment, so many of us, and the collective consciousness is also holding at the moment, is not only limiting us in a personal sense, in a physical sense in what we're achieving, it's limiting our spiritual growth and awareness. It's also limiting what's happening in the world at the moment, because it's holding what happens within is what happens without. If we're holding ourselves apart from other people, then that's being mimicked, that's being reflected just in the world as countries holding themselves apart from other countries. This is how this stuff works. So yeah, it's really, really quite big. And I suppose, yeah, the moving out of victimhood part of it is a massive aspect. When we're holding ourselves in resistance, we're holding ourselves in victimhood, because there's something we have to resist. There's something that is trying to attack us in some way or make our life less than in some way. So we have to resist this. And that puts us into victimhood. And as the beautiful divine beings that we truly are, we are not victims. We have never been victims. We may have experienced the journey of victimhood, but our essence isn't that of a victim. So if we are to journey back to our own essence, back to our own beingness, we need to let go of that victimhood. And we need to let go of that resistance. And we need to recognize ourselves as the love that we are. So I wish you many blessings on your journey back to who you are, and your remembering of the amazing being that you are, and the recalling of yourself as the love that you are. May you always know yourself as love. May you always experience yourself as love. May you always allow love to flow to you and through you. And thank you so very much for listening to me. Talk again soon. Bye.